Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's October, I believe this is the 28th, and this will be our chart lesson for today. And you can see this is today's bar on the daily chart. We continue to push higher. Notice we found support off of that the very upper envelope band. We did close higher. We did make a new high today. We closed at an all-time new high. But we did close significantly off the high. And if you look at this bar, it looks still relatively bullish, but it was kind of a sideways day for most of the day before prices kind of broke out and traded higher. But again, we backed off of the all-time high, so doesn't look the 2000 tick chart will look a little different than the way this bar turned out. So let's flip over there and take a look, and you get a better idea of what I'm talking about. And you can see here we spent most of the day in this range before we broke out, moved to a new high, and then we quickly sold that off and came back within the range before the close. I think we closed just outside the range, but not much. So just kind of a range day other than this. I mean, we really trended up from about 10:30 to about 2:30. So it was about 4 hours of upward. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe some kind of news or something came out here to spike this up. I usually don't pay much attention to that, but usually it takes some kind of something out of the ordinary to send that up. I'm sure there was some kind of news item or something that happened. Again, it usually takes some kind of news item to spike it up like that. But again, it doesn't really matter. We're still playing the channel. Notice you get a break, move to a new high. It looks like it's going to sell off and you end up with a triple test and it breaks higher. So we spiked up and went into this flatter channel here and trended on up until just before the 2:30 hour, and then quickly gave it all back. All that breakout turns out to be a failure. That's what usually happens. Even if we're going higher, it'll fail temporarily before it, and it'll test this a few times and act as support before it goes higher. That's what usually happens. So nothing out of the ordinary here other than this spike up, really. And I'm sure, like I said, there's probably some news item that spiked that up. I don't pay much attention to any of that stuff because they'll write the news to fit the spike or whatever. So it's really irrelevant. Uh, so I do believe tomorrow is FOMC, and now is an FOMC rate day. So we could get another rate drop tomorrow. I think the market's expecting one, and whether or not we get one, that's to be seen. But I think the market's expecting one. You can see there's not a lot of trades today. This is just hard to trade right here. There's just not much there. Uh, you got to be really careful trading this stuff. So um, it's just too choppy and sideways, and it just becomes difficult to trade. So uh, anyway, let's zoom in here. We'll go through what's here, and we'll wrap this day up. Maybe tomorrow will be a little more interesting. But 7 o'clock came, I believe it was right as we were hitting the overnight, the close from yesterday. Yeah, and you can see it right at 7 o'clock right there. So I was correct. It was that bar right there. And we broke higher. We pulled back to the trend line again. And this is a second entry by the count. And it does look like two legs. You get a move down, correction, another move down. It's a little choppy too. You could say that looks like congestion, but there's plenty of room to get out. So I like going long there off that trend line regardless. And off it goes again. There's another second entry here, but it's an inside bar. And you can see we just kind of chop sideways and we make a double top. And we actually get a triple test, but no setup. It's unfortunate we don't get a setup there because that would have been a great place to go short. And you can see it runs down, close outside, and it just keeps chopping lower. But there's just nothing there. Notice that we do get a new high here. It's higher than this swing high. And yes, that is a swing high. It breaks higher right there, turns back down. And this one actually breaks higher than that. And so you got a new high there, and you get a first entry, second entry. It's also a failed second entry short. I don't think you'd want to trade that off the failure, but with that being a second entry long, when you've got a break and a new low and you're looking for a reversal, I think that's a good place to go long. And you can see it's a great move up, and then it turns back down again. And then this is just two sideways, and it actually just expands here, and you can see that this turns out to be a midline in here in the end. And this thing just chops around. You get a failed breakout. This one is tempting. It's two legs back, and we've tested that multiple times. That probably closes in the top 1/3 of that bar, so the signal bar probably qualifies. The problem is it doesn't look like there's a close outside here of the trend line and a new low in place. Maybe you take that one because it's a triple test. I'm just not crazy about it. And then we get another one here, and this one I do believe does close outside and make a new low. But again, it's real close, so I marked it green as well. I just haven't seen, there's just not much here today. This bar doesn't qualify, in my opinion, to go short. And then it breaks out the low. And maybe you go, I mean, you could argue I go long here because it looks like we get an overshoot. We're way away from the EMA, but I'd probably wait on the higher low. And you get one here, but no setup. And then you get these 3-bar matching lows. So you could use this one, but there's not enough room to get out there, I don't believe. I didn't like it in real time. You can see it's only like a point or something. So I think you have to, and you see it does try to turn down. It ends up going higher, but it doesn't always. So I think you just kind of have to sit tight there. We do get back inside the range right here, and that one is tempting, but you got a double top right there, and you don't want to go long into a double top because you see what happens. It works its way back again. You do get a triple test here, but that signal bar doesn't qualify, and then this is where it kind of just rockets off. And you definitely don't want to go long into the highs of that resistance right there. It ends up going much higher. And I think you got to have a lower high here. There's just too much momentum to try to short that. It is near the overnight highs. And maybe that closes in the lower 1/3. Maybe you say, okay, I want to try to catch that. So maybe you mark that green, but I wouldn't take it. It's just too much momentum there. You can get burned on that in the New York second. So just be careful with it. Lower high here, but no setup. Again, you're still in this trend channel. And I couldn't make it fit by bringing it up here, so I think this was an overshoot, and it does lead to a break, so I believe that's correct. But this is like a first entry, second entry, third entry, fourth entry, and then a fifth entry. And none of these signal bars, maybe this signal bar qualifies, but you don't have a triple test yet. You get one here, a triple test, but then it doesn't break higher, you get an inside bar. So I don't think you can go long there. You definitely have to be careful going long into the highs here. But by the time you've pushed through it once, twice, 3 times, it comes back again, and notice it turns up right off that key entry point, plus you have the support here. So since you've been pushing through that every time, I think it's worth risking, and you can see it turns out that's a good trade. You can't go long into this. No setup there, 2 sideways. It just kind of takes off again, and then we work our way back. Now, this is not a second entry. Notice it's like a first entry, second entry, third entry, but we clearly get a close outside and a move back to the key entry point. And this looks like a leg with a couple of swings in it and a second leg. So on a bigger picture, it looks like 2 legs down, and it's right at the key entry point. So I don't have any problem taking that trade. It was tempting to take this one, but I don't think the signal bar qualifies. Here you don't have room to get out. It comes back again. But now by the time you get here, you got a triple test, a nice signal bar. It actually breaks lower and turns up. Wait for this to close. Don't enter on the engulfing bar. And I like going long there as long as you got room to get out, which you do. It doesn't really matter because it bounces off that midline and goes higher again, but I don't think you want to enter there. By the counts, you could argue it's a second entry, but that just looks sideways, and you can't go long right into that resistance. So I think you got to sit that one out. It runs up, and of course, it's definitely two legs up. It's not a second entry by the counts, but I think this is a leg up, a little two-legged swing, and then a correction, and then another leg up. So I think on a bigger picture, that's a second entry short up there. Again, I think you need to wait on the lower high, but you may not get one. So if you want to be a little aggressive, that's probably where you do it. It looks like topping action there with the close outside and a couple of legs up. So there's a good chance it turns down, but the safer bet is to see if you get a lower high before you get back to the CMA. And but you don't get it, but I'd give that one a green. It's aggressive, and you could get burned on it, so you got to be careful with it. And somebody may ask me on this one because you do get a close outside the new high, and it looks like a place we should turn down. But again, I'd wait on a lower high here, and you just don't get one. I think you'd be better off to wait and go long down here. So there it is. Not a lot of trades today. I mean, this was pretty weak right in here. And then this was hard to trade as well till you had a triple test here. And then even then you got to be careful because you're at the highs of a range. But I think this tighter range here that allows prices to push back and forth multiple times, I think that's good enough to take that long there. And there it is. Very short day today, because less than a day, because there's just not much. I think the market's probably waiting kind of. I mean, we're still going higher. Don't get me wrong. This thing's still going higher, but and there is more volume today. You can see there's a lot more bars today. So this all transpired on higher volume. So maybe people expect a rate cut tomorrow and this thing to. Let's go back to the daily chart real quick. Okay, as you can see, we are way overbought here, but there's still a lot of room left to those highs. And so with a possible rate cut tomorrow, maybe people are expecting a big rally tomorrow. So maybe this thing is going to go higher yet. We'll have to see what happens, but maybe that's kind of the plan. But you can clearly see this two-tiered channel within the bigger two-tiered channel. Let me just give this one a different color. Just make it green. But you can see there's no break of that yet. Close outside. So there's definitely room to go higher. I mean, we're getting way oversold up there, but usually these reversals will happen like that. If you look back here where the last reversals happened, we got way oversold here before it really reversed. And if you go back prior to that, there's not many big reversals. So we might be topping out here, getting ready to have a blow off top. Or we could just keep pushing higher for that matter. The market, if the rates drop again, that's going to be bullish for stocks, in my opinion. Doesn't mean we still don't need a correction but there's still room to go higher here based on the channel itself. Now, if you're looking at the bands, we're starting to get overbought, but these things could turn up stronger and we could just get a sideways correction before we go higher. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, but I do believe we could still go higher yet tomorrow. Doesn't mean we will. Don't go betting on that, but there's a good chance we could still go higher yet tomorrow because there's still room in the channel. Just understand that we're very overbought and the market's probably going to be jittery. It sounds like there's some cracks in the wall with our peace agreement in the Middle East with Gaza and Israel, so it looks like that might be flaring back up, and that may not be great news for the market. I don't know, but there's just still a lot of things that cause the market to be very nervous. So it doesn't take much, especially when you're making all-time highs and you're having blow-off tops that look like this. This thing could reverse on a dime. And again, I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it can. And you need to be prepared for that. So If you're trading long, put your stops where they're supposed to be. Keep them as tight as possible while also following the rules. Don't shoot yourself in the foot and get them too tight. Just follow the rules, and that's all you can do. And if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. But at least you live to fight another day. Don't give this market any room, because you could get another day like this anytime, and it could be even bigger than that next time, because we're in. Looks like we're trying to form a blow off top here. So doesn't mean we will, but it sure looks like it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm going to wrap it up for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.